Oh, don't do this again. I see that. Yeah. Okay. Bro's speaker on or unmuted?
Again, if you could all find your seats, it's 9 o'clock. We'll get started.
Yes.
We might need just a little bit more speaker volume on the mics.
Okay.
Because he's talking and we can't hear it.
Can you do a test for me and then tell me what happened?
(9:01), y'all. It's the military and I like to start on time. Good morning. Welcome everyone to our TPO meeting. Call the meeting in order. Okay, turn the volume up. Obviously, we're being recorded. Call the meeting to order. I'm going to ask Mr. Johnson to lead us in the invocation, and then we'll say the pledge.
Let's pray. Again, Heavenly Father, we thank you for this beautiful day you give us. The day you have made, and we're going to rejoice and be glad. Thank you for all the blessings. We thank you for this body of men and women, Lord, that you bring together. We have a voice in building bridges, roads, highways, putting street lights in, traffic lights, or sidewalks, just to make it safer for our residents. Lord, we just ask that you will lead and guide and direct us today, making the best decision on behalf of the safety of each resident in every county that's on this board. And we'll ask these things in your name. Amen.
Amen.
Please join me in the pledge to our nation's flag. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all. Before we proceed with the roll call, I do want to acknowledge, great to see Secretary Gainer here, District 3 Secretary. I think he's here to check on me as this is my first meeting as chairman, so we're being graded. Y'all helped me out. Good to see you, Mr. Secretary. Thanks for joining us. Okay, we'll proceed with the roll call. Here.
Councilwoman Hill, Councilman Wiggins,
Here.
Commissioner Berry, Commissioner Bender,
Here.
Commissioner Peach,
Here.
Commissioner Wright,
Here.
Commissioner Calkins,
Here.
Councilwoman Neese. Did I miss anyone?
Okay, thank you. Before we get started approving the agenda, we have a quick presentation. If I can get Commissioner Berry to come up. Just a small token in appreciation of your outstanding leadership as the chairman for this past year. I look forward to following in your footsteps. I want to thank you for your leadership and everything you've done for us. You got this picture. Take a seat. No salute. I have a face for radio.
Happy to serve. Thank you. The pandemic year was challenging. I appreciate everybody's indulgences as we had to change some schedules and such, but I appreciate the recognition. Thank you, Dave.
Okay.
Nice to be here. I wanted to share with you it's really hard to be green in this community. I appreciate that the good Lord is helping us with roads and bridges and making everybody safe, but I'm also here to point out that our creeks and our waterways are impacted. The infrastructure underground is broken. We have an aged infrastructure on the landscape, and the structure to communicate with the public and get information to the top level is also broken. So I'm here from the bottom up this morning for just 2 or 3 minutes to plant some seeds. Carpenter Creek, which is an urban bayou that starts in Escambia County and empties into the city of Pensacola, is fragmented in a number of ways because of roads. And we are seeing some of the impacts where what was a small blemish has now become a chronic problem. And last week it became an acute problem when parts of the parking lot started caving off into the system. At the very same time, the Restore pot of money has identified this creek system from the headwaters to the bayou as something that this community wants to repair. And yet there are several large-scale operations going on that are impacting sediment flow, water quality into the system. I have tried from the bottom up to coordinate with several of you. I have spoken to you individually and collectively at the estuary program, which ironically, I'm so happy to see so many members from the policy board here. But we cannot have it both ways. We cannot build in the way we're building unbridled and continue to ignore the landscape that we live on. I'm not saying this for me. I'm saying this for your children, your grandchildren, your nieces and nephews. You are handing off, kicking down the road, the can that is going to make their life really miserable. The community structure of talking to the community committee, the citizens committee, to then go to this committee, to then bubble its way up to the top, is also not working. It's broken, it's kaput. So I bring this to your attention because last week we had 12.5 inches of rain over 3 days and this parking lot caved in. And there's a sediment flood coming down. There's also a very large stormwater pond that's about to breach, and there's more trees falling into the system. What do I do for a living? I'm a biologist. I'm not a politician. Politics should not drive environmental protection, but it does, because you're holding on to the money that could repair these things and study these things. The new 3-mile bridge. Okay, yes, no stormwater treatment. This bridge is going to have a lifespan of 50 to 60 years. A handful of you may still be around. Your children and grandchildren are going to have to deal with all the stormwater coming off of 3 to 4 lanes going into this bay. There are ways to combat this. If you had $100,000, which each of you guys could throw in 5, and you could hit that quota, you could make a contest between all of the high schools and the STEM classes, and they would have a remedy for you. How to keep stormwater from this overarching area from entering these bays. But no, we're going to engineer, we're going to get a plan, we're going to take your plan and put it with my plan, and all these plans are going to be great plans, and then we don't even implement the plans. In Santa Rosa County, they just had an opportunity to update the land development code and the comprehensive plans, and they chose to stick with the builders. Short-sighted. Penny wise, pound foolish. The new 3-mile bridge that has a pedestrian path, which is so exciting, multimodal, has no on-ramp for somebody riding their bicycle unless you start in front of the beacon station. That indicates to me the right hand is not talking to the left hand, and that's a real problem. I know several of you personally, and I trust you, and I've tried to meet with others, and they've shunned me, or they've pretended to be late, or my secretary didn't write something out properly, whatever. I'm just saying what I'm seeing. I'm bringing it to your attention because it doesn't seem to bubble up from the bottom up. I'm the president of an organization that has been collecting water quality off bridges for 50 years. I can show you land changes that are affecting our water quality. They're being mirrored in our waters, and we continue to be ignored. While we bring in consultants that have shiny brochures and really nice presentations, and you completely disregard the local community. What's up with that? The last thing I want to say is in our zealous effort to try to get everything computerized, and half the time it doesn't work. And yes, I'm a dinosaur, but that's okay. In order for me to go from where I live to Pensacola Beach, I need a sun pass. Then I need to have an online account. Then I have to transfer money to that. And then I can drive to the beach for $1. But if I don't do that, I get a picture of my license plate, and then I get a bill in the mail for $3.50, $2.50 of which goes to DOT to get to my beach. I'm a citizen, I pay taxes, I volunteer, I give blood, I work with kids. I'm a biologist, I have a background in aquatic toxicology. I love this community. Next year, I will have lived here 40 years. What is the problem with taking care of the resources that we have? We have so much more science and technology today that we're not applying to our government or to our resources. Sorry, we're applying totally to our government. Not to our resources, not to make them stabilized and better, but to these sun pass and all these different situations where you're basically cutting off, through gentrification, people who don't have a cell phone or an online banking account. That's wrong. I think you should let the community that lives here have access to the beach, or put a person there and take my $1. But don't charge me $3.50. It's my beach too. And then the last thing I'm going to say.
You need to
yes,
wrap it up, Barbara. We have a 5-minute limit,
I understand.
and I have to
Thank you.
stick to that.
The last thing I'm going to say is that, with all the traffic calming and coordination and planning and all this great stuff that you all are doing, and I appreciate you. I'm here out of frustration because my voice has not been heard. Today I have your attention. Is that we're about to open the 3-mile bridge into the community. Let's sync up our traffic lights, because our community that is in that neighborhood has been very quiet because there's been no road access. But when that opens up, it's going to be a thoroughfare. All right. Thank you, and I hope you all have a great meeting.
Thank you, Barbara.
Mr.
Traveled around the country and noticed the traffic problems and transportation problems in other areas compared to ours. We aren't perfect, but we're darn better than everywhere else. And I commend this board and the leadership of our state and our legislators for getting us, infrastructure that's way far superior than other areas. And so I appreciate what we have. I appreciate the leaders in this room for what we have. That bridge is an asset to our community, the 3-mile bridge. And we all know what happened when it was out. It was devastating to our economy. It was devastating to Gulf Breeze. And thankfully, we had leaders that got that bridge going. And we don't have a toll on that 3-mile bridge, thanks to leadership. So we need to count our blessings and be thankful for living here. And I know that our area and the city of Pensacola, the Escambia County, even the leaders in Alabama, our county, are trying their best to get the best transportation and to be proactive. And so I want to say I appreciate this board, and I think we could get a lot done. And that's all I want to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. We'll move on to our updates. First up is our FDOT update, Bryant Falk.
Hello, as Bryant said, I'm Olin Pettis. I'm with the District Planning Office in Chipley. As he always does, Bryant did a awesome introduction there. I'll be reiterating most of the things that he has previously stated. So with that, I'm going to present the SIS policy plan update. This is done every 5 years. It's part of the Strategic Intermodal Systems Plan, or commonly called the SIS plan. It's an update that we do and you may recall that the Florida Transportation Plan, or the FTP, is the single overarching plan that's guiding Florida's transportation future. The SIS policy plan guides that policy framework concerning planning and investment decisions for the SIS over the next 5 years. We've got a short video here that'll give you a brief introduction into the SIS policy plan update and the structure of how that.
If it needs to move over land, sea, and sky, it can move in Florida. Florida is full motion. When it comes to moving people and freight, the Florida Department of Transportation Strategic Intermodal System, or SIS, provides the most efficient and safest transportation facilities available. The SIS is a high-priority, high-demand network that aligns Florida's highways, airports, seaports, spaceports, railways, waterways, and transit systems. The SIS is a central nervous system that links hubs, corridors, and connectors for an extremely complex yet predictable and efficient delivery system. Hubs send and receive people and goods, such as an airport or a rail terminal. Corridors are highways, railways, and waterways that carry people and goods within Florida and to other states and countries. Connectors are first and last legs of trips that connect hubs to corridors. Integrating transportation into a seamless network enhances all facets of the economy and quality of life in Florida. In fact, for every $1 invested in current and emerging SIS facilities, the state experiences $5 in economic benefit. Funding for SIS projects is provided from the State Transportation Trust Fund and additional sources such as federal, regional, and local public and private partners. In the past 10 years, over $12.5 billion has been invested in the SIS to enhance economic competitiveness, provide improvements, and ensure sound stewardship of the environment.
As you see in the map that's on the screen, I know it's kind of big and there's a lot going on, much like the one on the presentation. But to focus on your area, this map shows all the facilities that are currently designated as part of the SIS. So to kind of bring it down to the area for you guys here today, you have one SIS strategic commercial growth airport, which is the Pensacola International Airport. You have one strategic growth seaport at the Port of Pensacola. You also have a naval air station with the Pensacola Naval Air Station with a military access facility which goes along State Road 173, Blue Angel, and Pine Forest Road from Pensacola Naval Air Station all the way to I-10. You also have 5 SIS facilities within your area. North of I-10, you have US 29 and State Road 80 and State Road 95. Also have I-110, I-10 State Road 8, and US 98 and 87, which are south of I-10. You also have 2 main SIS connectors to the port and the airport, which are State Road 50 Airport Boulevard, also connecting here at night, and then State Road 196 Bayfront Parkway. You have the waterway along the intercoastal as well for your intercoastal area. Next slide, please. So here you have your SIS policy plan elements. None of this has really changed as far as the main objectives that are seen here in these elements. You have the system hadn't really changed over the years, but the policy document itself generally addresses and includes the following topics, which is your main objectives, your focus areas and policies and strategies, and the implementation guidance. So here's the main objectives that were in what's currently in place from the 2016 SIS policy plan. These objectives still correlate to the current FTP goals related to mobility and transportation choices. The economic competitiveness and representation for the long-standing framework of the SIS and its original intent. Next slide, please. So here you have the what the 2022 SIS policy plan focus areas will be. These 5 focus areas are very similar to what we've had in the past, relying on safety, resilience, technology and innovation, urban mobility and connectivity, and one of the most current or recent ones that's been added is the rural mobility and connectivity to that list. So what's next? As you can see, we're currently in the outreach process with the drafting the phases. The draft will include the recommendations for the plan based on the input that's received from members like you. There will be a review of the information with the FTP and SIS Implementation Committee as well as the Department FDOT Management. The draft plan will be available to the public comment at the end of this year, and the final plan is to be anticipated to be adopted in early 2022. So we'd also like to coordinate with you guys here at the TPO staff and have you review this and be adamant on sending in any output or any information along with the links for the website that you have on the screen. We'll be sending this information to the TPO to allow them to give you the full presentation. There's also a full video. That was a condensed version of the video that was shown. There's a full video that goes into a lot more detail across the areas. As well as you can look at the, to the right there, there's a selection tabs. Each one of those have the focus areas that were discussed earlier. You can click on that and it goes to an in-depth process of what those focus areas entail. So 2 of the main takeaways that we want to have from our standpoint is the strategic intermodal system is very vital to the department and to our district. And we'd like you to remember that as part of this update in the phase of the policy plan, we encourage you to go to this link, go to this site, review everything that's there, look at some of the elements, and provide your feedback and input. That's the main thing that's going to help to mold this is getting your input, your feedback, and comments at that site. And with that, we'll go to the next slide. So as part of a parting message from the department, we encourage everyone to do their part with the department's Vision Zero initiative throughout the state and to support the goal of a fatal-free transportation system. So with that, we'll go into if there's any questions.
Question from Commissioner Bender.
Thank you. Not necessarily a question, just a comment to the board. So board, you're representative for the MPOAC, and there is some discussion going on down there about some of these dollars. So of course, as we said, you have SIS dollars for SIS projects, but one thing that they're also looking at, and which has general support with the MPOAC, is to use SIS dollars on non-SIS projects that help the SIS system. Is that so? So if I can do a project on a non-SIS roadway that helps improve the SIS, then they're saying that those would be eligible funds. So I just again, as your representative on that board, just want to make you aware of that discussion. And as Austin's down there as well, if you have anything else to add on that. The one other thing that they are talking about though is also using it for rail, and that would be focused on South Florida. But I think, of course, as we have SIS systems up here, we can use dollars there, and then again, we would be eligible to use it on non-SIS projects here if it helps the SIS roadway, so the SIS system. So, okay, thank you.
I appreciate that update, and I would hope they'd look at the caution of we don't get into the 7 layers of separation from Kevin Bacon, So I would hope they refine that criteria, otherwise you're going to have multiple hands trying to reach in the pot for some pretty wild things, I would imagine. So I'd be interested to see how they define that criteria.
I would say, of course, my comments are that we have SIS projects that go unfunded because we don't have enough funding. But if again, if it's maybe a cheaper alternative or more impactful to do a non-SIS project, then I think it could be worthy of those dollars. But of course, we want to make sure some of those dollars still come to our area.
Thanks, Commissioner Owen. Thank you. Okay, is that all you got, Frank?
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. We'll go to the LDOT update.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Aldott has just a couple of projects to update everybody on. In construction, our State Route 180 widening job over in Orange Beach is basically wrapping up. We're in the punch list final phases. We're welcoming any comments, questions about that, so that if there's anything left that we need to go out there and fix, look at before we finalize the contractor and get them out of there, we can do that. Going to our pre-construction phase, these are projects that are into design, waiting for a project letting. We have our waterways project. That's a new roadway and bridge over the Intracoastal Waterway. We're hoping to possibly put in the bridge a letting in December of this year and move forward with the main roadway in the future. We do have two other projects that we'll talk about in upcoming agenda items, our RTOP, Regional Traffic Operations Program, and our 98 resurfacing job, but we'll get to those in a little bit. And with that, I'll take any questions.
Awesome. Thank you. Any questions for Vincent? I appreciate you, Vince. Okay, we'll move on to the consent agenda. We have two items: approval of the June 2021 meeting minutes and the consideration of the resolution authorizing TPO chairman to sign the Alabama Department of Transportation Performance Measures Agreement for Transportation Planning Organizations.
So moved.
Second, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Consent agenda is approved. Thank you. We'll move on to our action items. First item is number 1.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Before we move into the action items, I forgot to tell you, Mr. Chairman, that we do have one new member with us today, Councilman Casey Jones from the city of Pensacola. I believe this is your first TPO meeting, so I want to welcome you to that. So for your action items, enclosure A, and we have 5 roll call votes. We have 2 that are for Aldott, and we have 3 for Florida. Aldott. So the first one is Aldott. Consideration of resolution Florida Alabama 2124 amending the 22-26 Transportation Improvement Program to add construction phase for US 98 from a quarter of a mile west of Alberta city limits to the middle of Perdido Bay Bridge. This is a resurfacing project. And Mr. Vince Beebe will present, and it's up to you guys and the chairman how you want to handle this, but my recommendation, so that we don't have 5 roll call votes, is that you do these 2 together for Alabama, and then you do the 3 for Florida together. So if Mr. Beebe presents the first 2, that would work.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Mary Beth. So our US 98 resurfacing project, this is about 11.5 miles from Alberta down to the Perdido Bay Bridge. It's just our typical mill and fill type project. We're looking at about $3.2 million worth of funding, 80% federal, 20% state. And we hope to get to a letting date on that in December. And just our typical resurfacing program type job. The enclosure B and that agenda item is the RTOP program, and this is our Regional Traffic Operations Program. This is a new program that we've started and found some state funds to put into for the next handful of years. And it also includes, we've added the CRRSAA money, the stimulus money, into that program as well for this area. What this is going to help us do is upgrade and improve our signals and our intersections and allow those corridors to improve operation efficiency and that sort of thing. A lot of technology, a lot of new technology going in there to hope increase capacity and efficiency on our roadway and network there, and get our signals talking to each other a little bit better. So with that, we request a motion to approve both resolutions 2124 and 2123.
If it's a microchip, order it now.
No doubt.
Okay, is there any questions on items 1 or 2? Not, I'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve resolution Florida Alabama 2123 and 2124.
There's a second. Motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Oh, it's a roll call. Sorry. Thank you. First screw up as chairman. Don't ding me, Secretary.
Councilman Johnson.
Yes.
Councilman Jones.
Yes.
Councilwoman Hill. Councilman Wiggins. Commissioner Berry.
Yes.
Commissioner Bender.
Yes.
Commissioner Peach.
Yes.
Mr. Calkins.
Yes.
Councilwoman Meese. Passes.
Commissioner Wright, yes.
Did I not call you? I'm sorry. Commissioner Wright.
Yes.
Okay, we'll move on to item 3.
So item 3, we are moving into FDOT projects, and this is also a roll call. The next 3 are roll calls. The first one is consideration of resolution Florida, Alabama 2127, amending the TIP to add the construction phase for the Escambia County Ferry Landing at Quiet Water Beach, Phase 2. This is for construction, and Mr. Paul will present the next 3 items.
Thank you, Mayor Beth. As stated, this is for the construction of Phase 2 of the ferry boat landing at Whitewater Beach. These funds were awarded through the Eastern Federal Lands Divisions of Federal Highways. These funds are in our current fiscal year for construction, and we are asking the TPO to amend their TIP to accept these dollars. The next project FDOT is requesting a TIP amendment on is a quick fix or interim improvement along I-10 at the Pine Forest interchange. This is for the design of an extension of the westbound deceleration lanes, along with converting the existing single lane exit into 2 lanes. So this will allow us to help the level of service at that interchange. Final project the department is requesting you amend your TIP for is the construction of the Welcome Center parking lot and on and off ramps. The department is looking to let this project in the current year, and we show funding in fiscal year 22 for resurfacing. And with that, I'll answer any questions about any of those projects.
Questions? No questions?
No. Move the items.
Second.
Motion and second. Roll call vote?
Councilman Johnson.
Yes.
Councilman Jones.
Yes.
Councilwoman Hill. Councilman Wiggins. Commissioner Berry.
Yes.
Commissioner Bender.
Yes.
Commissioner Peach.
Yes.
Commissioner Wright.
Yes.
Commissioner Calkins.
Yes.
Councilwoman Meese. And it passes.
Thank you. We'll move on to item number 6.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Item 6, enclosure F, is consideration of resolution Florida, Alabama 2126, accepting the FDOT 23 through 27 tentative work program. And Mr. Paul will present this as well.
Thank you, Mary Beth. At your seat, you should have 2 reports. These are our new format. We should provide you what we call citizens plans to review. The format has been converted to this public hearing report. I think you'll find these more readable, a little more information, a little easy to understand what the department's putting forth. With that being said, I'm going to review both the Escambia and Santa Rosa County reports. I'm going to address the new projects. However, I'll be glad to discuss any of the projects in the respective reports. So in the Escambia County report, it starts out with your modal projects. We're going to skip on over to the highway projects. They begin on page 5. Oh, excuse me, they begin on page 7. I will let you know we did add 7 new resurfacing projects in Escambia County. All are showing design starting in next fiscal year 23, with construction in fiscal year 25. With that being said, on page 7, we're showing 3 new resurfacing projects. The first one is on Gulf Beach Highway from County Road 292A to Manchester Street. In addition to the resurfacing, we'll be adding a right turn lane at Mills Avenue and Patton Drive. We have 3 resurfacing projects on the interstate, very large projects. The first one is I-10 from Perdido River Bridge to State Road 95 or US 29. And then we'll be picking up from US 29 going to Davis Highway. And on page 8, we have a resurfacing project on I-110. This goes from the I-10, it goes from I-10 south to Maxwell Street. We have a resurfacing project on Navy Boulevard, New Warrington Road. This goes from just north of Patton Drive to Fairfield Drive. Move over to page 9. We do have an additional $3 million programmed to the TPO's #1 priority, which is the regional ITS effort. That's $3 million in fiscal year 2027. the I-10 Buell Road interchange. We were added additional right-of-way in fiscal year '27. And with this addition, that fully funds the right-of-way acquisition phase for that project. The construction of that project is funded in the outer years of our SIS plan, but as we always want to caution, those outer years are very fluid, and we hope to advance those, in fact, but until they get into our 5-year work program, it's more of a placeholder for those funds. We do have a resurfacing project on now State Road 99, Buell Road, from Mobile Highway to Isaacs Lane. In addition to the resurfacing, we'll be adding paved shoulders along that segment of the roadway. And finally, we have a very short little piece of resurfacing on State Road 750 or Airport Boulevard. This is going from US 29 to Palafox Street. The final two projects that are new to the program on page 14. It's an all-system bridge replacement on Gotti Lane. It shows design in 23 with construction in fiscal year 27. And this Canby County area did get a transportation alternative projects, a sidewalk project in the Legion Field Park and Global Learning Academy Center area. And a recent change that I was just made aware of for this area, the US 29 I-10 interchange project, which currently had construction in fiscal year 24, we were able to advance that construction into next fiscal year 23. So that brings in nearly $145 million worth of product into fiscal year 23 and provides a full build out at that interchange. And with that, I'll be glad to answer any questions about Escambia County before we move into Santa Rosa County.
Commissioner Barry. Mr. Chairman, thank you. I just want to thank Brian, thank our friends from DOT that are made the trip over today in the audience for their support. All of those, all that new work product is it's very much appreciated by Escambia County. I see Commissioner Bender and I are our two representatives here today, but it is certainly appreciated, and it's a tremendous amount of improvement and quality of life to our folks, and especially advancing the I-10, Highway 29 interchange and the resurfacing stuff on I-10. Those are big deals, and we appreciate that.
Commissioner Bedden?
Yes, sir. Thank you, and I echo Commissioner Berry's comments that we do appreciate it. I had one quick question. I think previously we had mentioned about some resurfacing from maybe I-10 north on Scenic Highway to, and I didn't know the status. It may just be not. It may already.
It's in
Okay.
here. It was an existing project,
Okay.
so I didn't point that out as being.
I tried to read through. Yeah. All right. Perfect. But no, I think. I mean, it's definitely touched on a lot of the problem areas that I've heard about, and I may just get with you on after this on something else.
Okay.
All right. Thanks.
Go ahead. Okay. With that, we'll move to Santa Rosa County.
I got a question.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, sir.
As far as the Legion Field and Global Learning, how are we going to safely move the kids from across that main thoroughfare? Have we looked at that yet?
What I have available to me, we're looking at sidewalk installation at L Street and Yield Street from Gregory to Cervantes, and then on the north side of Gregory Street from I Street to Pace Boulevard. From there, on the south side of Wright Street, from Pace Boulevard to P Street. I'm not really familiar with the location, but those are the roadway segments that we're looking at providing the sidewalks for. Beyond that, we would probably just look at opportunities to improve or upgrade any pedestrian signals at our intersections to help facilitate a safe transfer of folks along this new sidewalk.
I would think it'd be better if we look at that also, because it is a school there, and some of the kids do walk to school, and crossing Pace is a pretty dangerous intersection. So if we can look at that, that'd be great.
And we do have that in the program for design in next year, fiscal year 23, with construction out in 25, it appears. And this will actually be a LAP agreement with the city of Pensacola. So the city will be managing that design, and but as always, we'll partner with them and provide any assistance they may need.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, moving into Santa Rosa County. Santa Rosa had 2 new resurfacing projects. Similar situation, there are designs in next fiscal year 23 with construction in fiscal year 25. The first one of those resurfacing projects is US 90. It runs from the Escambia River Bridge to Woodbine Road. In addition to the resurfacing, there will be a JPA for, intersection lighting at Woodbine. On page 5, we have a new resurfacing project on State Road 87 from south of East Bay Boulevard to Vonnie Tolbert Road. We have an intersection improvement project at US 90 at West Spencerville Road. This is going to be construction of a southbound left turn lane and upgrade the signals to mast arms. This has design in fiscal year 23, right away in 24, and construction in fiscal year 26. And with that concludes all of the new projects in Santa Rosa County, but I'd be glad to discuss any of the projects in that area.
Yeah, just appreciate it, Brian. Last night we approved, we hired a firm to work on Woodbine, our sections of Woodbine, and we've tasked them with the intersections of Woodbine and 90 and up near 5 Points. So I just want to make sure Z's in the audience that what we have them do jives with you all. So we're not doing things twice or doubling work, but we did take some action to improve Woodbine itself. And we definitely want to make sure we're in step with you all with these projects you got going on in that areas, because we have some drainage projects going in that area too. So I just want to reiterate the importance of us staying in step with you all so we don't get in each other's way or double do work. So there'll be a lot going on Woodbine, and I'm sure our staffs will stay in G. We appreciate your work on that too.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We're coordinating closely with the county on Woodbine and Shamuckla as we're moving forward on opportunities to improve both of those corridors.
Yeah, so appreciate that. And I don't have any other questions. I may have a question for you after on a separate issue, but appreciate your work. Are there any questions or comments on the Santa Rosa portion of the?
Mr. Chairman, before we go any further, I just want to let you all know that your CAC did have some discussion about the widening of Highway 90 through downtown Milton, and they ended up approving or recommending the work program, but they wanted to request that the City of Milton and DOT work together to come up with a resolution for the expansion of Highway 90.
And I see that project, correct me if I'm wrong, Brian, the preliminary engineering is in 23?
Yes, sir. Next fiscal year.
And that's just preliminary engineering?
Yes,
That's
sir.
no
That'll be
right-of-way acquisition, so that's the point where Santa Rosa County, Milton, everybody gets together with you and we work on inputs and desires.
Yes, sir. We documented several issues in our PD&E study that we agreed to address in coordination with the city and the county. So as we move into that design phase, that'll definitely be something we'll reach out and provide opportunities to comment.
I did want to express some thoughts from the city, if I may have a moment.
Sure.
As a representative of the Milton City Council, I would like to express our views concerning the proposed widening or 4-lane of Highway 90 through downtown Milton. For many years, we have requested that an alternative route be found to prevent the destruction of our historic district and the buildings by this proposed 4-lane. We are in desperate need of an alternative route that does not plow through our downtown and allows traffic to flow smoothly from Milton into East Milton and back. Different routes over the past years have been explored, but none were fully explored, we don't feel. The city passed a resolution in 2019 that hits on many of the important items about the damage from the 4-lane and why the city opposes it. The city modified the city comprehensive plan to include the following. The city of Milton values the historic character of its downtown area and desires to protect those resources from the adverse effects of any future roadway improvement. Some of the things in the resolution would be the City of Milton has been incorporated since 1844, and US Highway 90 is the east-west corridor that goes through the city's historic district. The district is listed on the National Register of Historic Places, and the city amended its comprehensive plan to additional protection for the protection of these related activities, and the Florida Department of Transportation has identified the widening of the existing corridor as the preferred alternative to the Florida Project Development Environmental Studies, and the use of the existing corridor will harm the district in district contradiction to the city's comprehensive plan, and his potential project will require acquisition of additional highway right-of-way property from both sides of 90, and the acquisition of ROW will impose significant negative impacts of the places, institutions, and commercial properties along Highway 90. This forfeiture of public and private property along its prominent highway shall irrevocable destroy the quality of life, safety, and welfare inherent to these adjoining properties, and sufficient consideration of additional alternative routes have not received adequate consideration from FDOT, where the potential alternative routes may mitigate the significant negative impacts most assuredly linked to Highway 90 widening have not been thoroughly investigated. And in closing, we just would appeal to you to please work with the city. City Council definitely does not want the 4-lane. There has been a new possible idea for a Berry Hill Bridge that's been out on Facebook and different media. That's one possibility that we could go to. But we would love the opportunity to sit down and talk about this. And thank you so much for your time.
So, thank you, Councilwoman Meese. I know this came back up in June, when that concept was put out. Has the city moved out on looking at doing a PD&E? Because, I mean, we had FDOT's answer back then that, their PD&E is done, but if the city, wants to fund an alternative PD&E study, that they would entertain looking at that, or has there been any movement or thoughts of funding that?
No thoughts of funding it, but we would like to sit down with FDOT and discuss possibilities with this.
Because I don't see a PD&E being reopened unless it's funded from an outside source. I mean, that's kind of the way it works. So are you good with the preliminary engineering, which is just sitting down and talking?
Yes.
So we could keep the plan as mentioned, and note you'll be deeply involved with the input on that preliminary engineering and talks.
Right, because the study with the Berry Hill Bridge was really nice. The original study, from what I understand, I was not here during that time, but it came down, the Berry Hill Bridge idea, came down Berry Hill going west and cut down Canal Street to Highway 90. Whereas the new one shows it coming all the way down to Highway 87 and turning down that way. And there's some different schools of thought on that. Have you had an opportunity to look at the video that was done?
Back in June?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. And I just had some questions on, seems to be a lot of acquisition in that one as well. And that's why, I see a full PD&E would be needed, to go that route. So that's kind of the process that's used.
But we definitely would love to sit down and talk about it, and we are still against the widening of 90 down right in the downtown historic district.
Councilwoman Hill?
Is the reason you don't do the PD&E because the city can't afford it? Is that too expensive for you, or?
It is. We're in the lot right now where there's one treatment plant. A lot of our money is going into that, which has a deadline. We have to have our current plant over. So a lot of our money is dedicated to that. I mean, I know we're only a small section of the CPO, one vote basically mine. And we just.
Well, you have others.
Yeah. But we just want, we want to protect our resort district. And a lot goes on down there, and we feel like if the 4 lanes put through, that would really, cancel out a lot of things that are going on downtown. It would not be a safe area for children and families and the festivals and the concerts and the things. And with the courthouse is getting ready to move out to Avalon, they're going to have to be repurposed as a courthouse. And for the structurally sound, we would love to repurpose it, maybe a library on the bottom floor with some shops and different things, and possibly some housing up above it. Whether, maybe elderly people or maybe just, single people with smaller units. So we want the walkability. There's a gentleman that's doing, converting the old school over on Berry Hill into a military housing, just for,
there's a lot going on down there, and I know Mr. Studer who came in and talked to us about it. He's got some really interesting, suggestions in the book that he wrote recently. Of course, he had a lot to do with downtown Howard Street, and, he seemed like he had a lot of, ideas in his book, building a vibrant community, and, basically told us that we do not want to put building down there, for any developers. Our rivers are our main thing downtown, but it's beautiful, and you don't want to destroy that whole thing. You'd rather go around the downtown area, or at least maybe look at something a little bit further in one direction or another, instead of cutting out some buildings. The Fisher Hamilton building, which is the oldest building between here and Tallahassee, the FDOT has said they would move it. That would surely cost a lot of money, and if it stays together for the move, it's currently, people are renting it and everything, so it is efficient as far as that is right now. It's been utilized. But just things like that, we just really want to protect it, and we don't want, basically, especially right through the downtown area.
It's understandable. History is important, and you have some of the best around, and you've preserved it, and visiting your downtown is an amazing experience. We don't need to put a 4-lane right through the middle of it. Is there any way that we could help fund the what is the PD&E?
Not FDOT or TPO way.
Is there an
It has been done.
alternative to get that information if they can't afford it? It's vital to get it, but if they can't afford it, we need to find a solution.
The department, as stated, has completed the PD&E study. It is approved by the state and the Federal Highway Administration. So we have studied the alternatives that have been proposed, and it's the preferred route, the preferred corridor is through downtown. The department feels that's been fully addressed. However, if a local government wants to pursue the cost of another PD&E to look at, they're more than welcome to do that, but that's not something we're going to reinvest in because we've got the document that's been approved by all the pertinent bodies.
So if the local government doesn't want it going through their downtown, do you do it anyway, or?
Well, we'll continue to work with the city, but no, we have to look at the corridor as a whole. We have to look at both the commuters, both the county's needs on the east and west of this. Honestly, this is a bottleneck for everybody currently. So we're willing to proceed with the design. Again, it's just the preliminary engineering. So once we put forth some ideas and some concepts, we would hope that the city would be able to have a feeling that they could work with that widened roadway through their downtown area. Again, we actually put that in our PD&E document that we would work and provide those complete streets type components to make it as user-friendly. We did commit to keeping the speeds low in that area. We can do that with the complete streets toolbox. Yeah, if it's a wide 4-lane with a wide median, yeah, it would be a speedway, but we can do things to slow traffic down through there and not impact the livability of the corridor. I think we can have a good mixture of maintaining the downtown and still getting our workers to and from East Milton and provide the economic viability that's needed.
Well, I would say if the city still says no, we should respect them. That's just my opinion.
I mean, an alternative may save millions of dollars and could be completed quickly, not harmful to downtown. Consider smart traffic solutions right away that would address things. A lot of people, from what we had a study done by our police department recently, and coming from East Milton across the bridge into downtown Milton, 40% of the traffic turn right on Willing Street to get off Highway 90 at that point. They make a right and they go down 2 blocks where it dead ends there on Berry Hill, and they turn on Berry Hill anyway. So the public is using Berry Hill Road. Trucks are not allowed down there, but cars. They're using Berry Hill Road already, 40% of them. To do that, we could always, make it where they can't turn right there, if we decided to go the other direction. I mean, there's smart traffic signal solutions that will address immediately moving the traffic along on Highway 90, different times of the day and night. That could, increase the capacity until other changes occur.
Actually, what you referred to with that relates to our regional ITS project, which has made great strides in being advanced. And so we are already looking at opportunities to provide that improvement along the key corridors, US 90, US 98, specifically in the Santa Rosa County area. And so, yes, we're pursuing all options. We're not just relying on the widening of US 90 because realistically, that's a very expensive project. It'll take us many years to successfully construct that corridor. So we're not just waiting on that to be built. We're continuing to look at interim improvements along the corridor.
Okay. And Councilwoman Meese, I've had discussions with Councilman Snow, like we're doing in Santa Rosa County. We're improving some of our traffic signals ahead of that ITS system, and I've given him that data. Unfortunately, ours are probably sitting on a ship off of Long Beach. We've been waiting to get them, but we're expending county funds in order to upgrade some signals and help our traffic issues in anticipation, and the TPO is helping us out with monitoring things like that. So I've been working with Councilman Snow on options like that, because yeah, just better signalizing your intersections through downtown can help tremendously. So, but I think the answer we heard here was that if there's an appetite for new PD&E, it's going to have to come from the local government. And I can tell you, I'm going to quote the same things you did. We're helping you with your wastewater treatment plant, and all three of us that are here have major flooding issues that we're focusing on. So, you know, the availability of resources and the priority of them, you know, hits reality sometimes. So, but I mean, I think the motion today is to approve it. You know, let the preliminary engineering, which is no right of way, it's a chance for input, and sit down. There's not even within this 5-year plan any construction dollars program. So we're probably realistically 10 years out, 8 to 10 years out, Brian, from anything even happening at a minimum. So I think there's time in there to. Any other questions, Mr. Barry?
I was just going to move the item, but before any commissioner says it.
Mr. Wright?
Yeah, I just had a comment. I believe everyone respects the historical nature of downtown Milton, but I heard the courthouse mentioned, and I just want, just for the record of everyone here on the board, that is a county building. So what happens to that building is really up to the county at that point. Downtown Milton is a historic place, but I think when we start talking about 4-laning roads, I heard walkability and character involved. And we're in historic downtown Pensacola right now. And it's extremely walkable, and there's a 4-lane that runs right down through downtown Pensacola. It's Garden Street. Gulf Breeze has basically 6 lanes running through the middle of it, and it's still relatively walkable, and speed limits drop to 35 miles an hour. So just the sheer nature of 4-lane does not destroy the character of the downtown. I would encourage you, unless the city of Milton has the ability to spend and fund the PD&E, you can work very closely with DOT. You have the ability to put in medians, trees, do a number of traffic calming measures that would keep traffic flowing, but slowly, and would still allow for a very nice, frankly, much improved downtown Milton. And I think it could be the catalyst for a major economic boom in downtown Milton.
Any other comments?
Mr. Chairman, I move the work program.
Second.
Motion second. Roll call. Is this a roll call? We don't need a roll call. All those in favor signify by aye. Aye. Opposed? Councilwoman Hill, 2 noes. Still good? Yeah. Motion passes. We'll move on to, we don't have a multimodal update today.
Actually, Tanya, did you want to talk about the TDP, your transit development plan, which is very much like a long-range transportation plan for a transit agency, is in your information packet, and the entire executive summary is in there. So she and I talked before the meeting, and she's just going to briefly talk about that and what's going on at ECAP.
Good morning, TPO members. Tanya Ellis, Escambia County Area Transit. As Mary Beth mentioned, the transit development plan is located as one of the items in your backup. It was approved by the Escambia County Board of County Commissioners in August. This is just because we do work with the TPO on this particular document, including as a backup. I didn't want to steal any thunder for our Mobility Week. I know that's coming up soon, October 29th through November 5th. And we are working with the TPO, and they'll be actually kicking that off at ECAT on the 29th for that event. So Are there any questions of me or EK?
Question? Think we're good?
Thank you.
Next, we're on to presentations.
Enclosure G is the review of the draft Berry Hill Road West Corridor Management Plan, and we have Miss Jill Nobles to present, and she should be on in just a second. Are you there, Jill?
I'm here.
We can hear you. Go ahead.
So this, great. Thanks, Mary Beth. Thank you, Chairman, Chief Members. This is the Berry Hill Corridor Management Plan. This is the draft plan. We'll be asking for adoption in December. I will caveat this presentation with the fact that most of this project was done by Caitlin Serrain, who's now in the city of Pensacola, as well as our team from Atkins, and I believe Mr. Wiley Page is there in case you ask me any hard questions. But I am excited to present on this as I grew up in this area and even attended Berry Hill Elementary School. So when looking at a corridor management plan, we are looking at identifying operational and access management type of improvements, and this is for all modes of transportation. So not only vehicle and as for roadway capacity, but also bicycle and pedestrian movements. Next slide. This is a map of the corridor starting on the western end at the 5 points where it was realigned a few years ago, all the way down to on the eastern end right near Laughlin Tech Center. Next slide. We started this process earlier this year with data collection and analyzing the existing conditions of how the roadway operates now. We held our first public meeting in the spring.
Nope. Is she there? I think she froze. Jill, if you can hear us, you're frozen. Technical difficulties, everyone. I apologize.
You there, Jill?
She's frozen. I think we're frozen. Yeah, no, we're dropping signal.
Okay.
Do you want me to do mine?
I can't see it very well, but I can try to pick up. This shows the timeline of the schedule of the project. And you can see fall, winter, I believe it says 2021, and that's the final presentation. We're actually giving you the draft. This slide shows at least one, if not both, of the outreach meetings that we had. We used the Pace Community Center, which is not far from the corridor. We had very good input at both meetings. This shows, now I can't see this good enough, but maybe some of you guys can see the school zone summary. I think that's the existing, what the school zone regulations are, and then should be updated school zones. This is Westminster Field. I believe it's at Westminster Field and Berry Hill and St. George, and this shows additional crosswalks in that intersection to be added. This just shows the current, the way that the road looks now, and adding paved shoulders is the improvement desired. Next slide. This would be an option, 12-foot shared use path on the north side. The next would be widening Berry Hill Road to 4 lanes. That was a big discussion in in both of our workshops and in the survey. It seemed that most people, and Ray's going to give a little summary of the comments from the workshops and from the survey. So, and this PowerPoint, we can certainly make this available to you. We're definitely going to send it out to our, you there? There she is.
She's
I just
here.
about did it for you.
Yeah, she's here now.
Oh, I did this whole presentation.
I'm so sorry, I texted you. Good news is, Jill, it's done. Are you good with me going ahead and doing mine?
Thank you, Jill. Sorry about that glitch. She does a much better job than I do. At this time, I'd like to ask Ray to come up and give the public involvement report on this project. They were very involved in it, and it helped us get the information we need. I do want to say, I don't know if Wiley's in the audience, but one of the things he mentioned to me, okay, he is there, so he is the consultant if you have technical questions. But he did mention to me one of the things we didn't point out in our PowerPoint was the addition of lighting. So that's something to keep in mind for that particular segment. Okay, Ray.
Hi, thank you for having me, allowing me this opportunity to speak to you, Chairman, TPO members. Mary Beth was correct. We had a great response from our surveys. We did 2 public workshops, 2 online surveys, components of live videos on Facebook as well. That was a new thing for us, and it went successfully. That's always an exciting thing, right? We had over 200 respondents, and through all of that we did, we had a lot of the same names coming through, but it's good. We had 2 separate sets of questions, meaning we had consistency of the people we were talking with. So we got 2 different views from the same person, and that's nice to have. The next is, on average, 68% of people either lived on Berry Hill Road, near it, or used it for a majority of their commuting and travel. Overall, the numbers that will correlate and help you make your recommendations, 73% of people felt that pedestrian and bicycle safety was the highest rated concern. We asked them, is this a high concern, a low concern, or no priority at all? And majority of all of them agreed it was a very high concern. And tied in second and third was speeding and student safety. So those school zones were clearly needed by our public input. When presented with the scenarios that were set forth before you, 46% showed significant support for 4-laning Berry Hill Road and adding a shared use path on the north side. So taking away the 2 sidewalks and including only 1. The last thing I would like to include are all of the public comments, but I cannot, as we had 81 and I would like to keep this meeting short. So I do urge you to go into that document and read through all of those comments. We had some very caring and important voices in there. So those are all listed within that drafted document. I am available for any questions you may have. If they are too technical, I am so glad Wiley is here.
Thank you. Big fan of the corridor management plans. The one that was done on East Bay is phenomenal. Just in the last few months, the board has approved some major rezonings on there, which is going to increase that population. So, you know, I can definitely see where 4-laning is probably going to be somewhere in the future.
Yes, sir. And one thing I didn't put in here, but it is bear to be talked about, is another, I don't have the exact number, but a good portion of people highly agreed that any development coming into that area should be responsible for creating pedestrian paths and significant lighting or signals. So not just street lighting, but signaling as well. There was a lot of support for that.
Commissioner Cochran?
Thank you. I appreciate all the work that y'all have done and the meeting and the people participation. As y'all may know, that this particular area in Santa Rosa County is a booming area. The growth is moving north, and it's we got as Commissioner Peach has just mentioned, we've approved some big housing developments that are going to need the infrastructure to be able to use, and we have master plan communities on the way to that are in talks to develop in North Santa Rosa County, and this is going to be very important. So I appreciate all the work and appreciate support.
Thank you.
And they actually had the easy part. The hard part's ours now to find money and to work it into the plan. So your work ain't over yet, Commissioner Hawkins. Any other comments? Appreciate it. Thank you so much. Look forward to reviewing that document. Okay. Next, we have all our informational items. Anything to cover there, Mary Beth?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I do have a few announcements as far as your information items. Those are just pretty much standard minutes, action items from the last meeting, and your schedule, which we'll talk about that in just a minute. I would like to say that you should have one of our Florida-Alabama long-range transportation plan fold-outs in front of you. If you don't, make sure and stop by the front desk and pick one up. This is kind of the culmination of a 5-year long-range transportation plan. It takes about a year and a half to put together an LRTP. It's one of the biggest products that we produce, and we work with our consultant, of course. But if you unfold it, you'll see the big map and all of the projects. You'll see the needs plan and the cost feasible plan. So that's going to be very helpful with your tenure on this board. The other thing is, Tanya talked about Mobility Week, and I'd like to get Mary Jo to talk about a couple of things. First of all, she's got some new employees, and both are here, so she may want to introduce them. And then we're going to talk about our transportation symposium, which she's going to tell you all the details. But I just want to tell you, this is our sixth symposium since I've been with the council or with the regional ECRC. And this one is going to be awesome, and she's going to tell you about. Please make sure that you register. You have some benefits as board members that not everyone will get. Can't encourage you enough. One of the most important things you will get from this is getting together with other professionals in the same type job that you're in and talking to them about transportation planning. So Mary Jo.
Thank you and good afternoon, board members. I would like to mention firstly about Mobility Week. You have a Mobility Week flyer in your information pieces. Mobility Week starts October 29th and runs through November 5th. It is the 6th annual Mobility Week, and it's a statewide campaign. And as always, it promotes smart, efficient, and safe multimodal transportation choices. At the top, if you're interested in becoming a Mobility Week partner or organizing an event, whether it's in person or virtual, you can reach out to Jason Arnold. His email is there on the flyer. We also encourage you to, take some type of mobility action, whether that be carpooling or riding your bike to work if you're a biker. There is a Love to Ride challenge that is a statewide challenge called Love to Ride Florida. You can register online to participate in that. It's free. They have lots of great prizes, and there's even a $300 early bird, prize if you sign up before October 29th. So there's lots of stuff they're giving away, gift certificates to bike shops and bicycle shops that you can win. There's also on that flyer listed the local events. They're having a kickoff right here in Pensacola with ECAT, so that's exciting. That's on Friday, October 29th. There's other transit events, and then also Jason will have a table at the symposium event with lots of information about the Ride On program and about Mobility Week as well. So we encourage you to participate in Mobility Week in whatever way you can. And leading into the symposium, where you can find more information about that from Jason. The symposium, as Mary Beth said, it's on November 4th and 5th. It is in Sandestin at the beautiful oceanfront Hilton Hotel. They have discounted their rooms incredibly for us, so they're less than $100 a night. So if you want to stay through the weekend, you can. We're going to have a lot of great speakers and presentations this year. The theme, as you can see from the flyer that you have, is what can you do with big data? And we have a lot of wonderful guests that will be speaking about smart cities, ATMS, ITS, smart regions. We'll also be talking about bike ped trails, complete streets, and crash data technology. So it's going to be very interesting speaker topics. There's also going to be a dinner reception boat cruise the first evening that is included with your registration on the Solaris out of Baytown. So, and the Hilton will be providing transportation to the boat. So we invite all of you to come and participate, network with your fellow transportation industry colleagues, and if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer those.
you, Mr. Chairman. As Mary Jo mentioned, the theme, what can you do with big data? It's really geared around our ITS project, the ATMS project. That's TPO's #1 priority. It's gaining so much speed, and it's going to be delivered here very soon. We want to make sure that the board has the opportunity and the committee members have an opportunity to understand what it is and where it can go, because that seems to be other regions that have developed this ITS type system have incorporated it into the communities so that the communities can do data collection, planning elements, community pedestrian safety. I mean, you name it, it can go anywhere from there. And Mary Jo mentioned crash prediction. A lot of the advanced systems out there are using artificial intelligence to actually 80 to 85% reliability predict crashes before they happen based on conditions that are currently occurring, traffic counts, where the congestion's at, weather, and it all goes into this computer algorithm, and it'll say within the next 15 minutes your probability of having a crash is 99%, so you can send out your first responders, and boom, there it happens. And so the responders are right there. It decreases the time. And so they're going to go into details of how these systems that are in place across the state are being utilized. So we're towing on their coattails here. We're going to have our system up in place. So if you can please attend, that'd be awesome. If your city's not willing to sponsor you or whatever it might be, let me know. I'll see if we can't get you there a different route. So just want to make sure that this board knows we've really focused this around our project.
I'd like to add also, if I didn't mention that, for the TPO board members, there is a discount code that you can use for registration that cuts it in less than half the cost to attend. So that code is BOARDS, BOARDS. So when you're registering, if you use that code, you'll get a great discount on the registration fees. All the registration links for the hotel rooms at the discounted rate, as well as the registration for the symposium, are on our website, ecrc.org/transportation symposium. So please visit that and sign up. I would like to take just a second to introduce our new employees. We have 2 new public involvement coordinators. We have Katie Foltz here. She's helping a lot with our technology. She's Ray's sidekick, and she's doing a fantastic job. She lives in Niceville, so we're happy to have Katie. And then we also have Leandra. So Leandra is actually from Kentucky, and she's went to the same university that Ray did, and they don't know each other, but
Not at all.
We're we're finding a lot of good people from Kentucky. I'm not sure what that is, but Leandra is specializing in some of our data analysis for a lot of our outreach. So she'll be working a lot with information, data, and all types of analysis and metrics that we track on different outreach opportunities and website and a lot of different things like that. So she's going to be a wonderful addition to our team. So I'd like to welcome them. So, thank you.
Thank you. Welcome to the team, you two. Glad to have you on board and appreciate that update. And Austin, if that thing can pick Powerball numbers, let me know.
Me too.
Go ahead.
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, we just have one more thing, and that is your next meeting. Your next meeting will be Wednesday, December the 8th at 9 a.m., and it will be here, hopefully in this room. I don't know about the rest of you all, but I like the bottom floor better than the second floor. It seems nicer for some reason. So, and that's all we have.
That's it. If there's no other business to come before it, we are adjourned. Thank you all.
Go to. Go ahead and mute your audio capture on your cam link. And you can mute that one too if you really want to. Which one? This one.